Probably nobody. This is Will again, William. I was on the last one. I started talking at the beginning, and I was probably talking at the end. We still don't have a name, and we still don't even know if this is going to go anywhere. But
we have a name now.
No, we don't.
It's Geekula.
No, that's a working title. We don't know if that's the name for sure.
We didn't settle on Geekula for sure? For 100%?
And this is still something that we're committed to doing every Sunday. Whether it goes anywhere or not, just so that we're working on something and talking about stuff and hopefully working. No, we're not 100% on Geekula yet. I still like Boskula.
And I'm Dylan.
And that's Dylan. And he's the problem.
Yep, apparently. We're gonna listen to the playback of the first episode.
If you have an idea for a good name, you should just call in now. We will wait for a moment. Any calls?
Geekula it is.
Geekula.
The votes have been tallied.
It's still the working title. Okay, so do you want to do your topic first? Do you want me to do one of my
You kick it off.
Okay, I have one that I really want to talk about, and then I have one that's a weak topic unless we get rolling on it, and there's another one that's just kind of me complaining.
Well, let's start at the height. So we can get the podcast off.
No, we don't. No, we want to save this really good one for the end, because it's actually something we can really get into.
Well, I'm saying we do that one first. We get warmed up, we get ready to go, and then
I don't want to.
I
don't want to serve the ice cream now and then just have salad later.
All I'm saying is, if we start the podcast out droopy, when we get to your good topic, we'll just be like, and then blick.
But they can still carry themselves, whether I sound stupid or not. I just want to save the good one for later.
I'm just saying, are we on top of our shit yet? Can we do it?
We don't know the name of the show.
I do. I'm very confident in Geekula.
Just hearing you say it makes me upset.
Why?
I don't like... It just sounds... Because it's too... Geekula. I was probably really on board last time.
You were very on board with it.
No, I don't like it.
That's why I spent
You were also all on board with Poster Back.
No,
Posters on a back.
Posters on your back.
Oh.
That's not that bad of a title.
That's pretty horrible.
When we started thinking it was back posters, that was bad. We're talking about our last episode.
Back poster.
That's all we're doing is we're just doing weird
I think we should go back to back poster.
No, okay.
Okay.
I spent the whole week thinking it was Geekula. Like, we settled on Geekula. I'm on board with Geekula.
I don't think we settled on Geekula.
We did. You can listen back to it.
I might have been excited then, but I'm not now.
Why?
Maybe it should change. I think Geekula is the name of that. The title of that episode.
First off, we're not changing the name of the podcast every episode. That's not happening.
Geekula is the name of the first season story arc.
No, Geekula is the name of the podcast. Boskula is the name of the first episode. Or Posters on Your Back. One of those two.
Back posters. Back posters are always 2020, Dylan.
Yeah. Sure.
Geekula's back. I'm proud of that.
Just hit a topic.
Alright, here's
smash
the
one,
first one.
Smash one in my face.
This one's like a clickbait topic.
Okay, great.
Teaser trailers. Have we gone too far?
I mean, I can say
hold
yes.
On.
Moving on.
Have we fucking gone too... Like, you and me are two of the biggest nerds. That's why we're doing this. We're stupid as shit. We just argued about Geekula and back posters. And I love all the things that we're getting. Like, I don't care about 5 trailers. Mm-hmm. That's fine. So far, people have been pretty good about not giving things away in the movie, minus Terminator Genesis, which, dear God, what happened.
Yeah.
And arguably Creed, which I'm probably going to go see.
Yeah.
Like, it showed Rocky in the hospital, and he's probably going to die in that movie, but also... Because also, the first Rocky movie is all about Rocky loses.
Yeah.
And his trainer dies at the same time. And they're probably going to build it up where that just the opposite happens. When
Yeah.
Creed wins and Rocky doesn't die, because why would Sylvester Stallone want to not be in another
Rocky
the
movie.
next? Well,
Yeah.
Either way, he might die, he might not. They might spoilers for Creed, maybe. But trailers are fine. Give me as many 2 to 3 minute trailers as you want. That's fine.
I would still argue. I like one good trailer that shows how, like, the first Star Wars trailer where, like, it ended and we all went, yeah, I'm on board.
Right.
Like, but it didn't. I couldn't tell you what that movie's about. I know John Boyega's
I still
in it
can't
a bunch.
tell you what
and
it's about.
Yeah, I still can't either. To be fair,
Right.
But John Boyega's in it a bunch, and he's running around. And he's
But
out of breath. And that's the
I can
movie.
even deal with the teaser trailer as just shots of scenery and just like that was fine. And we're talking about this because it's relevant right now. I don't know when this will be posted, but Star Wars hasn't come out yet. But then also there is like, I think when I get upset is when we're gonna release a teaser trailer on Wednesday, and then Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday we get weird countdown things that have a flash of Paul Rudd going Ant-Man, and then it says Ant-Man, 2 more days for that teaser trailer, and you're just going, oh hey guys, when have we looped around and become a parody of ourselves?
That's already started happening though.
Right.
Like we've already started getting things like, I mean, like, I know this is a kind of bad example. I know Jessica Jones just did it not long ago, where like their Twitter had like a real countdown to but it was like a full trailer going up, so that's fine.
Right, that's different though.
But we're getting stuff like I don't remember what movie it was, but it was a Monday, and they were like, I think it was Star Wars even. Okay. They were like, that Monday morning they put out like a 5-second teaser that went tonight. The other teaser.
See, yeah, that shit's weird to me. That's
like that. We need to. Yeah, you're right. We need to calm down on the teasers.
Because, we've gone back and watched old trailers where trailers don't make any sense, and there's just weird, fuzzy clips with no random or just completely random put together, and they don't. And sure, but we know how to make trailers now. I can forgive. I was never ever against the Inception wah, the boom boom. That never bothered me. On any level. It's impacting and it grabs attention, and from a marketing point of view, genius. It works every time. It makes you look good. Sure, it's something you could... But, if you're going to complain about the boom noise, then you should be complaining about the in-a-world guy.
Well, to be fair, in-a-world guy...
People are endeared to him.
But, he's become... he's, in front of romantic comedies now. He's not in front of action movies
Well, he'll just do any work.
Yeah,
but the point is, nobody ever turned on him and went, gotta have this guy. It's just a thing that happened, but then people went, fucking Inception's fault. People got mad.
I would argue that people eventually did turn on In a World guy. He's a joke now. So. He's not, there's no serious...
nobody was ever, going, give him an Emmy, but...
But it's a joke now, TV, sitcoms, that's a jump to, In a World joke.
But it's not a... fuck that guy kind of joke. It's just this is how it's
I guess it's this is how we used to do stuff. Isn't that weird? Because it makes no sense anymore.
I think it's not even so much that, it's just accurate. It's just an accurate joke.
I think they're poking fun at how weird we used to be. That's how we had to sell movies. Because nowadays, if you see a movie that's still... a movie trailer that still has that, it's like Norm of the North. Norm of the North trailer has the...
Hold on.
You're a polar bear, and you're living in the North. But one day, you have to go to the big city to save the iceberg. I'm still mad. I'm just mad that that movie exists.
We're gonna cover Norm of the North on the next episode.
No, we're not.
Because that's
we're covering it right
that
now.
takes so much time
we
to
have
get
to
into.
Deal with it now.
I am not emotionally prepared to deal with Norm of the North right now.
Okay. Because that trailer starts, and they think that the humans are moving to the North Pole.
Well, no, they are, right?
No, that's clearly not
happening.
happening.
Starbucks guy is moving things to the North Pole.
No, they're doing touristy things. They're people aren't going to move there and destroy... they're going to destroy everything.
At the end of Happy Feet...
Yeah.
Humans learn that penguins are sentient.
Yeah. You said happy feet, and I thought of my third topic. So.
Oh, okay, great. I'm glad it directly relates to happy feet.
I mean, it tangentially relates to happy feet.
Is it just about a dancing penguin you meant?
So
teaser trailers. What are we going to do about it? Nothing, because nothing's going to change.
Destroy them. Throw them into the
sun.
No,
I'm going to watch them all, because I'm still a piece of shit nerd
honestly,
that loves it.
The problem is, we've entered a new era where I have been adequately convinced that any nerd shit coming out...
Oh, we've agreed not to watch anything having to do with Civil War.
I mean, until we see Star Wars and they play the trailer in front of it.
Right.
Before Star Wars is going to be the Civil War trailer and the Apocalypse trailer, back to
No
back.
matter how much I might go, I'm not going to watch that thing. I will always watch the trailer when it comes out.
Yeah.
Because I love the trailers. And I love to see how people get me excited for their movie.
Yeah.
That's important to me. I want to know that the people up there, it's like the Fantastic Four trailer coming out with unfinished shit and it not being a clear message of what's going on, and I don't care about this time the Jurassic World trailer looks like this, and the second time the background, the mountains look better. I don't even notice that shit anyway.
Yeah.
Dude, like, Final Fantasy X still looks pretty real to me, so that's fine.
I have the exact opposite feeling about I want to go through life.
How many trailers did each movie get? One?
In my world, none.
No trailers.
Like, if it's a new property, show me a trailer.
But if they're going, look, another Avengers, why would we even need to show you it?
If the Avengers trailer was just them showing shots from the first two Avengers movie and going, get ready,
there's going to be another one.
There's going to be another one.
I see that you could almost even wonder if that would do better. But look, that means you're giving up the really cool, creepy build-up to Ultron with the Disney song. That was super enjoyable.
It was enjoyable, but I would gladly trade off that for not going into Ultron opening day and then having people walking out of the theater going, nah, I didn't get... That movie wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be because the trailers built it up too much. People... part of Ultron's downfall was everyone was too excited about Ultron going in.
Sure.
Like, if they had just gone, Avengers 2 is coming out soon, and not... Because they build up, I mean...
There was no way that wasn't going to happen.
Well, I feel like it would have been a lot lessened if everybody wasn't... if Marvel hadn't... Because Marvel, they spent so much time and effort hyping Ultron to the point where everybody went, well, it could never have lived up to our expectations.
Sure.
Then Marvel kind of went... Marvel and Disney both kind of went... Here's some Ant-Man stuff, I guess. And then we went to Ant-Man and we went, that was awesome. That's what I want. And they even did the good thing of they cut out there was stuff in the Ant-Man trailers
that they mixed and matched so it didn't fit right, because I always told you that my biggest problem with the Ant-Man trailer is when he goes, I'm Ant-Man, I didn't think of it either, and they make it look like he's talking to Darren Cross, and it's me going, how does that exchange work? And it turns out he's talking to Falcon. Spoilers.
But even then, he never even says...
But no, he doesn't even say...
it wasn't my idea.
Right.
He's
fully embraced who he is in the show, in the movie.
I mean, he never even really balks at... both of the jokks about...
Yeah, they took those out.
Name. Yeah.
Those were just for the public before the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because they realized it, undercut how good the movie was if the main character was constantly questioning himself as a person and as an entity. But I guess that's Ant-Man, even though because you and me, we're on board with Marvel Cinematic Universe, we're going to go see every movie forever that they make.
So no matter what, our opinions are going to be biased because we're nerds.
But I would argue Avengers 2 didn't need a trailer, but Ant-Man did. People needed to get on board with Ant-Man.
Definitely. But also, you have to admit, Guardians wouldn't have done what it was if it hadn't been for the trailer.
Yeah,
that trailer alone made a song popular again.
Yeah, it brought.
I mean, Jesus Christ!
It brought Hooked on a Feeling back to the popular culture for a full year. And Guardians, the Guardians trailers did so well that we went to that special sneak peek where they showed 14 minutes of the movie a month before it came out. I was in a theater packed to bursting of people who showed up to watch 14 minutes of a movie they could see in 2 weeks. Like,
I mean, I went.
Exactly.
I was excited.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, Marvel, like, sold us on that movie so hard going into it that they got away with crazy, crazy stuff.
Did we pay to see that?
No, it was free.
No, it was free. You're right. Okay.
But we still probably would have because we got a free poster with it.
I got like 5 free posters. I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, final thoughts on too many trailers. We got to move on.
I think.
Gotta learn to curb our time.
Yeah, I think there are too many trailers.
Okay.
I think teasers need to die
completely. But also, and just real fast, it's teasers. Yes, definitely. I have teasers written down specifically, but the more trailers are for more nerdy stuff.
Well, no.
Sicario's trailer played a lot, but there was one trailer.
There's still if a movie has enough budget, there's still like 2 or 3 trailers for movies.
I guess we're just not paying attention to them, though.
No.
Okay. Alright, so too many teasers need to stop. It's getting ridiculous. It's a joke of itself. We all know that the movies are coming out. We're on Facebook and Reddit all the time. Everyone knows. You do your thing.
Okay. Let's see which topic I should start with. Perfect segue. So, maybe this episode's going to get a little repetitive.
That's fine.
But this is what I thought of.
Okay.
And it's going to take a turn. Okay. So it's going to be fine.
Okay, I'm listening.
The DC Cinematic Universe.
I quit. I'm out of the podcast forever.
You quit the podcast immediately? Or whatever they're calling it. The Cinematic Extended Universe. Whatever it is. The dumb thing. This week, one of the producers of Dawn of Justice did an interview where he was going, guys, trust me, Dawn of Justice isn't going to be overstuffed. It's still about Batman and Superman. And, think about just how crazy it is for any person to go, trust me, we're going to cover everything we need to in a movie about Batman and Superman fighting. It's already too much. You've already put 2 huge heroes that need their own time to do stuff.
Always, this is one of my favorite things to do, is take any movie today that doesn't even seem like that big of a deal. Give me something. Something didn't do that well, but Pan. Take Pan, which everyone hates and is super stupid, but show that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Everyone would love it. It's just because we have so much and it's so easy to get to. Batman vs. Superman, had it come out right after Michael Keaton's Batman, at the height of popularity of Batman and after Christopher Reeves, that would have been the biggest fucking deal. And now they're going, we're finally doing it, Batman vs. Superman. And sure, lots of people are excited, but also there's a whole generation of kids going, so, 2 guys are going to fight? Because, the Avengers are, 6, and they all fought. You know what I mean? We've already seen 8 people fight another army of supervillains, and they're like, but Batman and Superman are going to fight? There is somebody that could argue that on a certain level. That should have been the biggest... That should have been a decade big deal. That's a huge deal.
It's like how Freddy vs. Jason should have hit, 5 or 6
years
earlier.
If Freddy vs. Jason had come out when it was supposed to, maybe in the slashers really died in the 90s, but if Freddy vs. Jason come out in the late 80s or early 90s, it's possible it could have brought slashers back to popularity.
Right.
Because, my God, but instead it's just a jokey 2000s movie.
Yeah, because it took 10 years to make, and during those 10 years, the 2 franchises that it was based on killed themselves.
Right.
Jason X and New Nightmare... showed up and went, remember? And, New Nightmare, intentionally was killing its franchise. That was Wes Craven showing back up and going,
yeah.
This was mine. I'm taking the toys back out of the box and fuck you guys. And then Jason X was literally, we have to kill time until Freddy vs. Jason is real. Let's remind everyone we exist by just shitting our bed, I guess.
Right.
But, Dawn of Justice, I guess that's the weird thing about Dawn of Justice is there's a guy. It's a guy standing on top of a massive pile of comic books and going, you guys clearly want all of this, and then he points, and there's a pile in the corner that is one comic book called Man of Steel, and he goes, "That's what you have."
That's a fun analogy.
And it's just him going, This is our progression. It's one comic book to this giant pile that I have.
Whereas Marvel went, "Hey, read this issue of Iron Man."
Yeah.
And then went, "Did you like that? All right, read this issue of Hulk real quick. All right, did you like that? Read this graphic novel about Captain America, Hulk, and Iron Man. It's like 3 separate stories, but like they all kind of fit."
Yeah.
And then somebody went, "That's all pretty good." And he went, "All right, hey, real quick, there's this really cool story coming out where they're all going to meet each other and fight a bad guy." And then they went, "What?" And then they just went, "And now you buy every issue because they all connect."
Yeah.
And and then
it was Marvel starting to go like there's now weekly issues of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
And every once in a while, just a full graphic novel from Netflix is coming out.
The issues of S.H.I.E.L.D. are digital comics.
Yeah, sure.
We're going to analogy the shit out of it.
Yeah. But then Dawn of Justice is just standing... I mean, because the best part is, it's a guy standing on a pile of comic books going, "You're going to give me all your money because you want this." And then, like, 2 feet away from him is 5 other is like at least one other pretty decent pile of comic books that's been going on for years, and it's just the Flareoverse sitting in a corner going, "No, we've already got everyone on board, like this is how you do it." And then the guy standing on top of the comics is like, "No, Lex Luthor's dead." And Batman...
I feel like
Batman's already gone through,
but also, we have to realize now, especially after James Bond, and I know there's other cases, but we can't think of any, but people are allowed to lie to us before movies start now.
Yeah.
People are allowed to go, "That's not what's happening," and then it happens. So, like, is Lex Luthor dead? Are they saying it's his dad, but it's going to end up being a clone, and it is Lex Luthor? Like, is I don't... But see, also, I don't give a shit about any of this, because I don't like those movies. I'm not on... Well, I don't like Man of Steel. I'm not on board with that. I'm not on board with that trailer. I will probably see Suicide Squad. I mean, I'm going to see them in theaters, most likely. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to like them or not. They'll have their merits to a degree, I'm sure. But really...
I mean, next year is going to be so difficult because it's going to be from Deadpool to Dawn of Justice to Civil War.
Be wonderful.
And Deadpool...
When's Apocalypse come out? Isn't that in there?
Is it next year?
I thought it was. That's why they're releasing trailers and pictures and...
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's right after Civil War.
Oh, god damn.
Yeah, I think it's in May as well. So... But we just
overall,
I'm
just grateful.
Crammed in there.
I'm just grateful that in 1 year we're getting the Deadpool movie, the Civil War movie, the Apocalypse movie, and Batman vs. Superman.
And Suicide Squad. And Doctor Strange.
They're
cramming a lot in this upcoming year.
But then, and another Star Wars movie.
And another, Star Wars movies every year forever.
I mean, DC and Marvel movies every year forever, and Netflix series and TV shows, and we've won.
It's hard to complain. It's
everything. The problem is anytime we bring anything up, oh fuck, I ruined my foot on your stupid thing. I'm fine, everybody. It's just, we are just being nitpicky, because we've already got everything we want, but we're nerds, so we have to whine about it.
But I think the reason I bring all this up, is because just a quick. I just want to hear from you.
Okay.
A quick pitch.
Okay.
Quick pitch me your perfect DC movie. Like, I know you're not as big a DC guy, but I'm sure that
from what I know of DC, if they were gonna start, because no matter what, they're playing catch up with Marvel, so. I think it's a very good idea to introduce the new Batman the way they're doing it.
Yeah.
I've been unfair. I love everything about Batfleck. I like Ben Affleck as an actor. I like that it's the
Dark Knight Returns.
The author. Frank Miller. It's the Frank Miller Batman. Robin's dead, probably. I personally am not against Jared Leto as the Joker. I think he looks neat. I love wild, cool interpretations. Ben Affleck looks awesome. The suit looks awesome. The Batmobile looks cool. I'm excited for old Batman. They're doing great. you can't mess up Batman because Batman makes them the most money. So, but they have to, and they're doing it. They're great. I'm not even the biggest Batman fan, but no matter what you do, Batman's super cool.
Right.
He's the best. So sure, Batman's being introduced to fight Superman. That's pretty neat. Sure, that's big. That's wild. It's not just him running around Gotham. That makes a lot of sense. What I would like to have seen before that is like, I don't know. If Man of Steel
hadn't been a pile of garbage.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. It's so hard. The biggest issue with me is that, to me, my start of the DC universe, as we know the Golden Age and everything, is not a Superman story, but a John Jones story.
Sure.
It's Martian Manhunter, because Martian Manhunter was already on Earth being a cop, and then one day Superman was doing his thing, and Martian Manhunter went, oh, fuck, I can do that. I can do anything.
Sure.
I don't need to hide anymore. And then, Justice League happened, basically. And the other problem is that we already have the perfect DC universe. It's on CW.
Right.
And it's already fine. I don't need to pitch it. I already get to watch it.
Yeah.
Arrow and The Flash. Well, Arrow's amazing from what I've seen of it from the third season. The Flash is fourth season, and The Flash is it's impeccable. The Flash is one of the most enjoyable TV shows I've ever watched of all time.
Sure.
Let alone just being a cool superhero show. And I'm not saying that The Flash is a perfect story. I'm not saying that it's fucking. I'm not saying it's The Sopranos for people that like good drama. I mean, it's not like it's still superhero-y. It's very comic book, but goddamn if they don't knock it out of the park. I mean, they really got something going on with The Flash, and it always makes me sad that I'm not going to see that Barry meet Ben Affleck.
Right.
And I don't get to see rough Ben Affleck go, I don't give a shit, and then Barry just go, oh man, hey buddy, because he is the Flash, because everything DC, all my DC knowledge comes from the Bruce Timm cartoons.
Sure.
So in my head, I can see Ben Affleck being the Kevin Conroy, and the guy that plays Barry being that Flash, and I don't know, so that's what I think. That's what I think the DC Universe should be. The DC Universe should have always just been on TV with lots of budget, with cartoons and live-action shows, and then there should just be a line of Batman movies, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, because if anything, what I feel like this last couple of years has proven is that DC knows how to do TV. They always kind of have.
They always have.
Like, even going back to
Goofy
Adam West Batman, like, that, for the time, killed it.
Yeah.
They were killing it every week. And then you get to, like...
go back to the Superman serials.
Right.
But DC's always had a series done, and done well. Oh, damn it.
And, as much as...
Minus the early 90s Flash show, but...
and, I could talk some crap on Smallville, but Smallville...
Lois and Clark was amazing!
Lois and Clark is great. Smallville has its moments.
Sure it does.
It
does.
But, yeah. But DC... and I feel like...
Not a fan of Gotham.
We're not fans of Gotham. But I don't know that we're the intended audience for Gotham.
Not really.
But I was going to say...
Excuse me.
Apparently, maybe Batman's just not cut out for live-action TV.
No.
Batman's the
I was just about
hero.
to say, Batman should just be all the movies. Because the other problem with DC is their poster boy is and will always be Superman, more or less.
Yeah.
But the problem is they already did Superman so perfectly.
Yeah. The first Superman movie is just... They did it. It's spot on Superman.
It's so perfectly done. It's just like going, okay, we're doing Doc Ock again, but it's not going to be Alfred Molina.
Right.
Like, what are you joking? It's watching someone else play Superman is going to be like watching someone else play Wolverine when it comes up.
Yeah.
It's going to be really weird. It's not going to feel right, and God willing, they just don't do him. They just do X-23.
Yeah.
They just take Wolverine out of the picture and go, oh well.
Yeah. That would especially now that comic, at least Marvel and Fox seem to be marching towards this continuity's the name of the game, and
right.
like, hopefully they both just start going, we're torch passing. We're passing torches everywhere.
Sure.
And so, yeah,
X-23 gets a huge fan of.
Like, X-23 gets to be the new Wolverine of the new Days of Future Past universe.
Right.
Like, that whole universe just gets an X-23 and everybody's happy. But I guess...
Where did we start? You were asking me my quick pitch on the DC universe.
Because here's my quick pitch.
Okay.
On DC movies.
Yeah.
And...
Just line them up.
They could still kind of do this, but what I want DC to commit to is not. I know they've clamped onto the Dark Knight style of storytelling where everything's dark and gritty, and I wanted to say I want them to keep doing that, but it's not that I want them to be dark and gritty. I want them to latch on to the idea that Marvel's kind of latched onto, which is the movies are their own thing. They get to be a brand new, cool thing. That,
okay.
Like, they don't have to... I want DC to be the person who commits harder to the movies are different than the comics.
Okay.
Like, because already what they've done is they've created a movie, Superman, who is so not what the comics are.
Right.
And, like, that's my main...
So why even bother referencing things if you're going to already start out on such a limb?
Right.
Okay.
Like why... Like, they're bringing in Miller's Batman, but they're bringing him in
you know what it is?
Like,
you know what they need to do?
What?
And this is exactly it. Because DC has awesome stories.
Yes.
They just don't need to have a continuity universe. No extended universe. Just standalone stories that maybe there's a sequel to sometimes. And sure, maybe you can have Batman vs. Superman, but just no universe. Introduce characters in other movies, but I would give up all of the DC extended connected universe for a really good long Halloween movie.
Sure.
See what I'm saying?
Sure, I could, yeah.
Or, the fucking, what's the one with the crime? Is that Long Halloween? Where it ends up being, what's his name's wife? That's Long Halloween. There's a second murder one.
There's...
The family or...
there's... Are you thinking of Identity Crisis?
Identity Crisis! Yeah, that's an amazing movie right there. I'd watch the
crap out of an Identity Crisis
Of course movie. You would. So you have all the Justice League in that movie at certain points, and so that Flash is the Flash from his movie, but there is no timeline, and there is no arcing story to get us to whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, you know what? We've been doing this for 5 years. You guys have liked the stories. Guess what? We're going to go ahead and do a Darkseid movie. It's going to come out in 2 parts. You're going to love it. Because that's how DC works. Marvel, for the last 10 years, has been setting up a timeline. DC reboots every 10 years and goes, here's a bunch of cool stories, reboot. I would now that I know what it is, I would love for the next 5 Batman movies to just be, what's-his-name's stories.
Miller's.
Not Miller.
No.
The new guy.
Oh,
that's been awesome.
Sure, Snyder.
Snyder should be the next 5 Batman movies with the Joker's face coming off and the Court of Owls. That's all that should be.
Yeah.
Let's finish this Miller one, but let's just do a bunch of we'll have 5 Batman movies that all connect, when you actually read the comics, it never feels like those people are meeting up all the time. Because they all have their own cities and shit. In Marvel, everyone's in New York, so they're all swinging by each other and flying and meeting up because they're getting coffee. In fucking DC, it's them going, we had to take this thing from here and this thing from here and mash them together so Superman and Batman can hang out.
Yeah, that's why like in DC, the Watchtower exists, because anytime Justice League stuff is happening, they just all go to space.
And that's cool. That's fine. Sure. And that'll be for the Justice League movies. There can still be Justice League movies, but I don't want Superman to be hanging out with Batman on the Watchtower going, man, remember when we almost killed each other? It doesn't matter. That's a different episode. We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. DC works in an episodical format that doesn't so much suit a big continuity.
Like to be fair, my ultimate DC movie pitch...
Give me Superboy Prime?
Yeah, it's going to be Superboy Prime.
Right.
Of course
if there is going to be a continuity, make it all about Superboy Prime and the Lantern Wars.
That's the problem, is the thing I've thought about more than anything is just... I want DC to have a continuity to their movies, but I want it to run through personal people. I don't... like, in Marvel right now, you have to keep up with a ton of stuff, and, like, the Avengers movie, like, Age of Ultron was, like, a culmination of oh, well, the Winter Soldier stuff happened, the Dark World stuff happened, and Iron Man 3 stuff happened. Now let's talk about why all that matters a year from now in Age of
Right.
But what I want from DC is kind of what you're saying, but just, like, I want a Superman story. I want what the Christopher Reeve Superman movies were originally wanting to be, where it was like every couple of years a new Superman story about that Superman's coming out, but like here's the new threat he's got to deal with this time. Because I want a story that is here's Superman,
right,
and then the second story is like the first story is like here's Superman dealing with Brainiac,
sure,
and like a couple years later it's like here's Superman dealing with Lex Luthor, and then a couple years later here's Superman dealing with Ultraman, and then I want the fourth movie to be here's the movie where Superman dies.
Sure.
And then
here's Doomsday.
Yeah, and then or I might not even make it Doomsday because I hate Doomsday so much. But I just want Superman to die like he does in All Star, where he just gets super cancer.
Well, see, that's what I was about to say. You could have a Doomsday movie, but you could also have All Star, where everything looks different anyway, and the world's a little bit different. So you get to have All Star Superman and Classic Superman and New 52 Superman, and you get to do the Flashpoint movie, and it doesn't affect things because DC has changed so much. I would rather watch. It would be so cool if I got to see a trailer that came out in a year that said Superman as you've always seen him before, and we get to see a Golden Age Superman movie.
Sure.
That would be cool. And it could be goofy and funny, and we could do Golden Age Green Lantern, and we could do the Justice Society movie.
Sure.
DC has embraced every aspect of its long history that we should just commit to that. And just like Star Wars is going, we're going to give you 3 main episodes, and then we're just going to throw everything at you. So just throw a bunch of shit at me, because I'm going to go see it. I mean, just make it fun and entertaining.
I think that's at the core of it. That's what DC TV has learned. Because Flash showed up, like, Arrow was doing its own dark, gritty thing.
It was doing fine, people liked it.
And then Flash showed up and just went, let's just be comic book.
Let's be totally goofy, mock punches,
grab things, and then
giant
it did so well. Season 2, just right out the gate, went Jay Garrick.
Yeah, and then now there's going to be a
Flash
fucking time travel superhero story,
right?
Because of how well Flash did. Anyway, closing thoughts on this.
I guess part of the reason I wanted to bring this up is I wanted to see what your DC movie pitch would be.
That was it, yeah.
Yeah, but the other thing I wanted to do was just say, if somebody gave me the chance, if somebody came to me tomorrow and said, we're giving you the chance of a lifetime, you get to make one DC movie, what are you going to make? What are you going to put on the big screen? Mm-hmm. It's going to be Superboy Prime.
Yes.
I'm just going to make the best possible Superboy Prime movie, even
Superboy
if
Prime
it goes nowhere.
To use just another huge... it's a nerd analogy, so it doesn't really help normal people.
Sure.
But Superboy Prime, for those that don't know, is the Majin Buu of the DC universe. It's the guy that just kept not going away, and then when they finally got down to the nitty gritty of it, he was worse than ever.
Yeah,
he was just the way. You guys, he punched through time and space and the universe itself because he's super... It's a whole thing. Superboy Prime is very cool and scary and a great villain.
But for me, like, I'd love to make a Superman. I'd love to make my own Superman movie. But the fact is, the Christopher Reeve Superman movie exists. I don't need to make a Superman movie. That movie functions perfectly well.
Right, you were so conflicted, and I finally sat you down and made you watch the Christopher Reeve Superman, and you just went... I remember afterwards you just looked so at peace and satisfied with the world because I kept going, I'm telling you, man, and you were going, yeah, okay, alright, and and then you finally watched it and I went, see? And you went, holy shit.
So I want DC to commit to telling a new story. It's something they've done, but they keep fucking it up somehow, and I don't know, because Green Lantern came out, and I wanted to be real on board with DC finally doing something other than a Batman or a Superman movie, but then the Green Lantern movie just kind of train wrecks into itself.
Yeah.
So I want to believe that they're capable of telling new stories, but also maybe they're not. Maybe DC just needs to keep rebooting Batman every 5 years.
What are the two lows and highs? We'll do this real quick.
Yeah.
Because there's there's the lowest form of dark superhero movie is Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
and the lowest form of too comic booky is either Green Lantern, which is just kind of a mess, or it's a tie between Green Lantern, the culmination of the other Fantastic Four movies, which I still defend in being a perfect representation of Silver Age Fantastic Four because of how dumb they are, and how off the goofy-ass page old Fantastic Four was when Stanley was sitting around going, when I make the X-Men, I'm going to call them X, because X is a mysterious letter, and there's going to be a guy named Magneto, because it's woo, because Stanley's a crazy person.
Sure.
But those Fantastic Four movies, having, as dumb as it is, having Mr. Fantastic pull the Fantastic Car sheet off and going, yeah, it's got a Hemi. It's just like in the comics to me when there's just an ad on the next page going, buy X-ray glasses, dumb shit. Like, that works in a weird retro way.
Sure.
It's either X-Men Origins Wolverine or it's Green Lantern. Are the two worst. Because you can't blame Spider-Man 3 because that was that was the company's fault.
Yeah, that was
a whole thing which we will get into some other day.
Man, I don't know.
Because you can't pick Thor: The Dark World because that's just kind of nothing. Just like the third Wolverine movie is just kind of not really anything at all. It's something you can watch, but
maybe it's the Catwoman movie.
But that's not even really a superhero movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't mention Gotham. They're like in LA or something.
Yeah.
They're not even. It's just the name Cat. It was just Halle Berry going, I can do Eartha Kitt, and everybody going, you're very attractive.
Yeah.
That's all that movie. And that's what that movie's good for. It's good. That movie is great if you want to see Halle Berry in a cat suit, literally purring and running around. And that's great. But that is not by any means a superhero movie to me.
You know, I realized what it is. The movie that
Daredevil.
No,
but yeah,
I was gonna bring up Daredevil, but like even Daredevil redeems itself a little bit with its Kingpin, like
and Bullseye,
like they both like
holy shit, he's great as Bullseye.
Yeah, they both like pull that movie on their backs.
But then there's Elektra, which is a legit movie.
I still haven't seen Elektra, so I can't comment.
Oh, good
but what
Lord,
I was gonna say is
beyond nothing.
I know for sure the movie that took comic bookness too far and just lost itself in it. It's Ghost Riders 2.
Oh, okay.
It's Ghost Rider 2: Spirit of Vengeance. That movie...
Yeah, because they did try to commit to some comic book shit.
Yeah.
But they did it poorly.
They did it very badly. And they had...
That's still hard because those two directors are very strange people, though. And there was no way you weren't going to get something weird and kind of messy out of that.
I mean, that's fair, but that's also like...
See, I feel like reaching into the Marvel Knight stuff is like reaching into Jonah Hex land.
Yeah. I like there's comic book movies I can bring up, but like it's been so long since I can bring up The Spirit because I know people don't like that movie, but I don't know.
Which is weird because it's a fan. People like the comics, definitely. I saw it and it just kind of was confusing. And then there's
and like you can bring up like because Watchmen is also part of the strand of like
super great to look at.
Yeah, but it's like trying to be in the same vein as the Dark Knight movies. I mean, it was before the Dark Knight movies, but it's like
just trying to be Alan.
I guess it's just.
I mean, the problem with Watchmen for me is that it just was a perfect Watchmen movie, which is something I don't have any interest in.
Yeah,
I don't care about Watchmen. I don't like Watchmen. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like. I've never liked the. Yeah, but what if superheroes were real and there were consequences? Like I don't give a shit.
Well, like Kick-Ass.
Well, that's different because Kick-Ass has a sense of humor about itself. At least the movies do.
Yeah.
Kick-Ass 2, the graphic novel, is a fucking travesty to read because it's annoying and cynical as hell.
I was bummed out
like Mark Miller. I love Old Man Logan. Yeah. I love Miller. I love the Ultimates. I love the first 2 volumes of the Ultimates. I don't care how dark or weird they are from Marvel. I love those. But god damn it, what happened in Kick-Ass? We need to move on.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I've got another one. This one will go really fast. Is it weird when a name is so famous people stop naming the kids that name? Jesus, Elvis.
Well, I would argue
I couldn't think of too many others.
Yeah, I would argue that
you wouldn't refer to your kid as Cartman anymore these days, or
Well, Cartman's a last name.
I know,
anyway.
but that's people. I said this is my weak topic. It doesn't really make a lot of sense because I think about this and then I just can only come up with Elvis and Jesus.
Well, because the thing I can argue immediately is that that doesn't really happen because like other cult there's a lot of.
I'm not talking about the Mexican Jesus.
Well, but
I'm talking about actually calling your son Jesus.
Well, that's that name though. Like, that's how they say, it's still, they're still naming their kid Jesus. They know what they're doing.
I know. This is a dumb topic.
Well, I'm not,
Alright, so hey, how about the fact that there's nobody named Elvis anymore, right?
Right, sure.
Fuck me, dude. It's a dumb topic.
I would say the other problem is, I don't think there's ever a time when a name gets so famous people stop naming their kids that. I think names just get famous and then dumb people go, Elvis was a famous person. I'm naming my kid Elvis.
I've never met or heard of anybody else named Elvis.
That's fair. I've never met an Elvis.
I've never heard of anybody else named Elvis,
because you can track TV show. The thing that's messed up is you can track how popular things were based on baby names from certain years.
Here's, I guess, what my real question is.
Yeah.
When was Elvis just a normal name that you looked at your kid and went, "This is Elvis"? Elvis used to be a normal name.
Sure.
Elvis. That sounds like an alien.
Well, I mean, that's just how names go. It's like,
but Elvis is weird.
It's like Gwynnifer.
Gwynnifer?
That used to be a name.
Did it?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, people used.
That's just two names put together, though. Elvis is a whole different language.
Well,
that's Gwen and Jennifer shoved together. I can accept that. That's just Jennifer with a W in it.
I mean, there's just always been weird names, man. I don't know. Gaylord used to be a name that people named their kids.
That's true. That used to be a real name, but I know why that went away.
Well, it got different connotations, but
let's talk about the name Elvis for a second.
Do you just want to really talk about Elvis?
I'm mad at Elvis for having the name. Like, what if his name was... Okay, here's the idea. What if his name was Scott? Scott Presley. Would you hear the name Scott and go, "Oh shit"?
See, then you've reached a point where it's already such a common name that...
was Elvis not a common name to begin with, then?
Maybe not.
Because now all you have to do is go, "What do you think you are, Elvis? What do you think you are, Einstein?" No one's named Einstein.
Well, that's also a last name.
No one has it. They canceled that name.
I'm sure there's still people whose last name is Einstein. It's copyrighted by Albert. Nope. Because that's the
Hitler.
That's the other thing.
People are named Hitler.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That is weird.
I told you this was a weak topic.
But
my last topic's awesome.
But it's like... I mean, you can say, but Elvis Costello is still around.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
I mean,
Elvis Costello is very relevant.
To be fair, those are the only two Elvises I can think of.
It's the only two Elvis. You're right, Elvis Costello.
But it also still works.
This is a very inane topic.
Yeah, you fucked up.
I told you this was a bad topic.
We should have started with this. We should have led with the bad one. Everything would have gone differently.
Do you have another one?
Let's find out.
Final thoughts. Will you rename yourself to Elvis?
No, I won't.
What do you mean, let's find out? What are you doing?
I'm not going to name my kid Elvis either.
I don't want you to.
So, I'm going to bring up this. I don't know if you heard about it. I feel like you might have, because you're on the internet a lot. As are we all. Last week, or at some point during this week, Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, shit.
Invited people in New York
to
come sit and marathon all of his movies. About this? No, we did not. Not at all.
Okay, yeah. I watched the live stream for a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I
couldn't get the sound to work, so I didn't know what movie it was, and he just looked a little bored, so...
I didn't realize it was a live stream until after it was all over, and then I was seeing pictures from it. But I just want to... I guess I just want to talk about Shia LaBeouf for a little bit.
Sure.
Because I still really like Shia LaBeouf.
I was just talking to our friend Tony about this, and our friend Joanna has told me many times that Shia LaBeouf's childhood is very interesting. He was raised by, like, clowns in a mobile home.
Yeah.
They were, like, homeless. He's had a crazy childhood. He became successful out of that childhood. He's a wild and weird... Like, there was never a point where Shia LaBeouf was normal and then he went crazy.
Right.
Shia LaBeouf's always been a weird, wacky guy, and I've always liked that about him.
But that's
I'm so glad I've kind of grown up with him being off to the side, being this weird fella.
But because that's part of what I love about him, is he is weird, but he's also, like, just... he's smart about his weirdness.
Right.
Like, he's off doing weird stuff, but he knows he's being
But
weird.
It's not like Miley Cyrus, so to speak, where it's like, it's not a package, it is him.
Yeah.
It's something he was behind. And
he's not a character in real life. He's just being who he is.
And his stuff is just enough so that it's never really turning people off. Like, he hasn't run through a street naked with, like, a cat's skin on his head.
Yeah, the one time that everyone got off his side for a little bit was the I'm not famous bag.
But that was, like, the beginning of the weird stuff.
That was the beginning of him going
full on weird. And then he just kept going, and people went, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of... I love Shia LaBeouf. I would more than love to hang out with him for an hour or so. Yeah. Hang out. There's never been...
I mean, if we were in New York and I'd heard about that, I would have been there in a
He's just that really cool kid that's high school that you go, oh, fuck, I don't know what his deal is or where he'll be, but...
the crazy thing about him
very interesting.
Is he's one of the few Disney stars who, like, made it into Hollywood afterwards.
I remember the day I went, holy shit, because he was a side character in iRobot, and I saw him in iRobot.
Right,
and I went, oh my god, that's Shia LaBeouf, that's fucking Even Steven, man!
Yep.
And I got so excited, because I, as a kid, I used to watch him on Even Stevens and laugh so hard at him. And then he was in a drama on Disney where he played a mentally challenged kid, and I remember it was one of the first times as a child I went, that's acting. That's good acting, because I've seen him be something else, and I thought he's going somewhere. And then he was the star of Holes.
Man, and
I
Holes
went, holy shit, Holes was great. People loved it, and that was back when people read. I don't know, I'm just joking, but it just feels like that, because I was reading then. And then he just disappeared. And then he was in...
Disturbia.
It was iRobot and then Disturbia.
Sure, okay.
But he was in iRobot, and then suddenly he was in Disturbia, and it was like, Shia LaBeouf! And then he kind of disappeared, and then all of a sudden, 3 Transformers movies, and he had all the money.
Yep.
And then he was great, and then he started to become what he is now.
He was Mutt.
Oh, sure, he was also in Indiana Jones.
Because that was at the height of his popularity. They were, like, grooming him. He's the face of Transformers. He's going to be the new
next
Indiana Jones.
Right.
They were, like, grooming him, like, the way they're grooming Chris Pratt now.
Sure,
like, Shia LaBeouf
to be whatever.
Shia LaBeouf went through that. And he came out the other side, like, he wasn't broken by it.
I am
like,
not
he doesn't,
saying that Indiana Jones 4 is a great movie.
No.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie, because fuck everyone that does, because the issue with that movie was not the movie itself, but the fucking reaction that everyone had.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg, and fact check me on this, but as far as I know, Steven Spielberg, Han Solo, what's his name? Harrison Ford, and Shia LaBeouf have all separately, publicly apologized for making that. And that is the saddest thing in the world, that we, as a dumb nerd culture, or just as a culture in general, made somebody do, because fuck us. Sam Raimi and Fox didn't have to apologize for Spider-Man 3, which is by far... Sony didn't have to apologize for Spider-Man 3, which is by far a bigger travesty than Indiana Jones 4, which is fine.
Sam Raimi has now come out and apologized for that movie.
Well,
it took him almost 10 years, and it was only...
People should never have to apologize for a movie.
Yeah.
Unless you're the guy that made the new Fantastic Four movie, because you fucked up real hard.
And probably everyone behind Jim and the Holograms.
And everybody behind... Well, that's just weird nothing movies. Nobody cared to begin with.
Well, people cared.
Like, people tentatively got excited.
Well,
no, there wasn't... I told you the reason that movie didn't do well is because the audience for that movie is like just some girls in the 80s.
But
that was they went too specific.
They went too specific, but also Yeah, I don't want to trivialize their feel. Like, that's a
I'm
thing
not
they grew
trivializing the
up
feelings.
with.
For them, it was a super big deal. But
Yeah.
from a big let's make money point of view, somebody went Jim and the Holograms, and the rest of the board should have gone, what? What is that? The snorkels? Like, we're not doing that. What are you talking about?
But all I'm saying is, like Michael Bay did that with Transformers. Like,
but the Transformers was a huge deal and never went away.
I guess so.
And
but
I'm
it's
sure
still
the people
them, like,
behind Transformers had the foresight to know it would do well overseas.
It's them cranking out nostalgia shit.
Right.
All I'm saying is Transformers
That's guaranteed nostalgia.
But all I'm saying is Transformers came out, and, like, the people behind Jim and the Holograms should have been able to get away with a good Jim and the Holograms movie. The fact is, they just made a shitty movie.
Yeah, that's true.
It didn't matter that it was a Jim and the Holograms movie. From everything I've heard, there's only, like, one or two kind of tangential Jim and the Holograms things in that movie, and the rest of it's just a terrible, terrible, like, somebody clearly wrote a script for a movie, and then, like, they just dumped Jim and the Hologram stuff in it to try to salvage that they paid for a script, and Hollywood's bad, and it's over. It's over. We ended Hollywood. Movies are over.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even listening to me.
Yes, I am.
You're not listening
Hollywood
to
is over.
You're not listening to a single word I'm saying.
I am listening to
I don't believe you.
God damn it, Dylan.
How did we get here?
I don't know.
Shia LaBeouf is a good actor.
Shia LaBeouf's a good actor. Jim and the Holograms is a bad movie.
And probably a good person.
No one should ever have to say sorry for a movie, especially if you're Steven fucking Spielberg or Harrison Ford.
Yeah, it's... man, because I have been in the anti-Indy 4 camp for so long, but that's because walking out of that movie, I was with a giant group of people who immediately hated it.
I mean, I watched it and went, oh, weird, it's aliens, but, like, for me, aliens isn't any bigger a leap than reaching into somebody's chest and yanking their heart out. God damn it.
I think that's the point where you lose people in that movie, is the fact that it jumped from fantasy to sci-fi without warning.
But they were collecting crystal skulls, which are extraterrestrial, throughout the whole movie. But they were setting it up the entire... What did people think they were going to see?
I think people thought it... Well, I think people weren't expecting an interdimensional spaceship to just show up in an ancient ruin.
Because if anything, fanboys should have gone, oh good, now we can officially connect Indiana Jones to fucking Star Wars for sure.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Like, I've heard the reasoning behind Indy 4, because they were like, the original Indiana Jones movies were based on, like, 1920s serial adventure movies. Yeah, and then Indy 4 was based on, like, 1950s sci-fi.
Yeah.
Because time had moved forward.
Right, it's cool.
Yeah. It definitely works. You just... It was a hard sell on... Like, if Indy 4 had come out 2 or 3 years after Indy 3...
Still would have been fine.
Everybody would have been on board.
Again, take it and move it back.
Yep.
Take it and move... People would have gone, oh shit, another Indiana Jones. Aliens? Wow, I wonder what's next.
Yeah.
But it was a big wait where everybody went, Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones. I can't wait for Nazis. It's not going to be Nazis, but what's it going to be? Russians and aliens? Fuck you all.
Right.
No! Harrison Ford's old ass got up there and did stunts, bitch. You be happy.
Yep.
We got another Indiana Jones movie that no one had to do. At all. And now they're sitting up there apologizing to us?
We're sorry we gave you all the thing you wanted.
We're sorry you asked for a thing for 20 years and we gave it to you. We're sorry we didn't do good enough. You want to come make one? Jackass? Fuck you! You made me an Indiana Jones movie. Thank you so much. That's so dumb and mean. That's why I can never really hate too much of anything, because something was made like...
Well, I don't want to argue the point too hard, but I guess I would just bring up something like the prequels, which suffered the same sort of thing of, like, enough time had passed and everybody wanted them, and then when they happened, like...
But that's like, actually being not good. Indiana Jones 4 is more than forgivable, it's just not what people wanted it to be. Yeah. That movie's fine. There's giant cool ants and swinging on vines, and there's a fucking spaceship and weird rock tribal people. It has a bunch of cool stuff. You got John Hurt in that movie being goofy and cool. You have a psychic. You have Ray Winstone as a traitor. It's great. That movie's fun. Fuck everyone. It's got a jungle in it. That's all I needed. I got to see Indiana Jones do stuff again. He had the whip. He had the hat. Yay. Star Wars... as dumb and easy as it is to say, Jar Jar Binks is just a nightmare to watch. What you got as a kid, you got to go, it's his father, and in this you get to go, he grabbed his tongue so he wouldn't eat the fruit at the table. Also, Immaculate Conception. Also, what? Like, that's a whole different thing.
Let's watch pod racing for a whole movie.
See, I still like pod racing.
No, pod racing's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's not cool. I'm saying in a universe where the last couple movies we were dealing with magic, Jedi Knights, and space, it goes, you know who the worst knight of all was? This kid who's pod racing.
I mean,
all
that's ever been said about the prequels has been said by Patton Oswalt about I will kill George Lucas at midnight with a shovel, about do you like this? Let me show you him. He's just a kid and he's kind of sad. And he's just a kid and he's kind of sad and he's just kind of looking at it and that whole thing. And he said it perfectly. I will always reference that when it comes to my feelings on the prequels. Last topic. What are we doing?
We got
Shia LaBeouf's great.
Shia LaBeouf's great. Star Wars 7's going to be good.
Shia LaBeouf, guest star on our show.
Shia LaBeouf should be on the show. Shia LaBeouf should also be in the new Star Wars.
Shia LaBeouf should do a lot of the cool things. I don't know how far the joke would go if they actually made an actual cannibal movie.
Oh,
is that too much, or is it good as a big, weird musical production?
I mean, I'd be on board with that just so Rob Cantor could get a bunch of money.
Sure.
But
would that be a good movie?
I'd watch a horror movie where it's Shia LaBeouf's out in the woods stalking people.
As long as it was right. Anyway, this is something we're really getting into. So
okay, go for it.
What do we got? We got about okay. All right.
We got an hour left.
Fun.
Kick it.
And I got and this happened because
shoot me.
I was out knocking doors.
Okay.
That's what I do. That's my job. I knock door to door and I ask people if they want to check out our windows.
I know.
Yeah, I know you know, bitch. And so anyway, I did a thing where I was going up to a door and the lights were off, and I was just about to go to the sidewalk. And I noticed that there was already a girl outside that I just hadn't noticed before, and she had her iPad pointed up at the stars, and she was probably taking pictures or trying to film the moon or something, and I just went, oh shit, I didn't see her, and I just walked off. And this is something every fucking human being does in the world, where something slightly weird happens to you, and you think, oh cool, I get to tell somebody about that, and then you go, that's not interesting enough, so you throw 5 or 4 details in there to make it quite a bit more interesting, and we just go, and that's what happened, and people go, that's neat, and then nobody forgets about it, and it's a white lie, and you got to tell an interesting story. And because as I was walking away, I went, oh, I was almost on her, I saw her right at the last second, stopped, and I went, hey miss, and then she started going, ee, while she looked up at the stars with an iPad that was off, and I changed the whole story to make it that much weirder and creepier, and I went, why would I do that? That's just a fucking lie. That's really annoying, and people do it all the time, and I think I've gotten to a point where I know when people do it, so it's even more annoying to me because I'm getting better at storytelling, and I can tell when things are and aren't,
Yeah.
And it's just, I get it now, and I wish... And then I went, but we shouldn't condemn people because that was a cool little thing I came up with. That's weird. It's still... Because you still get the satisfaction of that weirdness. You get to have that story and go, oh, that is weird. That's strange. I just created it. But it's also like going, I wrote a story about Star Wars and people going, that's wonderful. George Lucas wrote Star Wars and everybody went, that's great. It was still something you can appreciate a story whether it's true or not. So what I posit is that we live in a world where white lies don't exist, and what you do is there just are exaggerations. But you're upfront about it. You go, oh shit, I just saw this thing, and on my way over here I came up with the best exaggeration for it. And people go, what is it? And you get to tell the story, and they go, that's fucking great. That's so weird. The end. You just get to tell, you get to go, oh, I came up with an exaggeration. And you get to tell the exaggeration. And it doesn't bleed into every aspect of life. You don't call work and go, I'm sick, and your boss goes, is that an exaggeration? And you go, none of that. You still get to lie your way out of shit. But just that specific situation of peppering details into things, just being upfront with the world that you're bullshitting to make yourself more interesting. That's fine.
Have a very personal investment in this.
Okay.
Because you just described my life.
Right. I know.
Because, I lie constantly.
Yeah, I know.
I constantly slip little interesting things into stuff because I can't help it.
I know.
I would feel almost cheated by having to preface every time I'm telling a story
but you get more credit.
by going, I'm gonna lie to you.
No,
right
it's
now.
not a lie. You're not saying it's a lie. You're saying it's an exaggeration. Listen to my exaggeration, and then I get to go, fuck, I know the parts that were real and then the parts you came up with, and I get to give you credit for the things you came up with. You get more credit, because then you get to show off how creative you are. And that, imagine every time you were in high school that instead of just making up something so somebody thought that was kind of interesting, you gotta go, check out all the shit I made up to make this interesting. And people go, wow, that's way better than dumb shit over here, who's actually more popular than you just because he actually gets into sometimes interesting things. But, like, you know what I mean? You get the credit.
I think you're giving people too much credit.
No, because if we all get raised this way, it's fine.
Sure, but
there's not one guy going, fuck this. It's just how everything works. It's a unanimous thing that we all get along with, and we go, exaggerations, they're a thing, it's a normal part of life, and we get to all be excited.
I feel yeah.
And that way you can weed out boring people, even more so.
I feel like the problem is...
It would do so much for awkward people.
I think you're describing just the world now. Like, we all accept that people are exaggerating in their stories. Like, you said you can tell when people are doing it and you get annoyed by it, but, like, I've always just kind of erred on the side of believing that half of what people tell me is bullshit, but as long as I'm entertained, I just let them get away with it. Like,
if you're not hurting, what they came up with and what they didn't, though.
Yeah.
Especially now that I'm getting way more into storytelling. I really want to know what you came up with, because that's interesting to me.
I think it's interesting positing that the whole world would be raised that way, but I think more ideally what you'd want is just people who accept that that's a thing and, like, are story-minded. Like, the thing is...
But I feel cheap when I do that.
Well, I mean...
I don't like doing it. Because I do it all the time, and then after I do it, I go, I just made shit up so somebody would approve of me a little bit more. That's annoying. I wish I could... But the shit I made up was good, and I still want to share it. I just don't want to be an asshole.
I just think the problem is you're not going to get you're not going to get the response you want from most people. Like, even if everybody was brought up that way, not everybody understands what good creative storytelling is.
Right, so you would hang out with the people that do.
Yeah, but you can do that anyway in the real world right now.
I mean, kind of.
You can. I mean, if we start doing that, if we start telling stories where we go, a weird thing happened, but then I came up with weirder shit, and then we could do that.
Right.
We
should experiment it with like a month.
Yeah, we should
do it.
Just experiment for a month of anytime we come up with wacky over the top.
Stick to exaggerations instead of just submitting the whole thing as the truth.
Yeah, we should definitely try that as an experiment because
it doesn't matter. It would grow because everything in human culture gets bigger.
Yeah.
So we would get to start exaggerating bigger things. Like, we would, because there would be the one time where I'd throw in, and then a fucking rock goblin showed up, and we'd all laugh and go, that's funny, but then it would become like a thing. Somewhere along the lines, that would be something fantastical would slip in, and all of a sudden we could fucking exaggerate things that aren't even normal, but people would still even appreciate those, and I think the world would benefit from being more imaginative on a general level.
I would wager that if the world committed to this.
Yes.
That what you...
Because then suddenly religion would feel looser.
Here's the thing. You know what you'd see?
What?
You'd see a bunch of people doing... It would have the same effect that it has now. People would go on believing lies. Because even if you start a story with, here's what happened, here's my exaggeration on it, isn't that neat? People would go, it is. 2 weeks later, they're not going to remember which part was real and which part was fake. The story's still just going to kind of meld in their head. And then they're going to tell that story to another person, and they're not going to be able to remember what parts were fake, so they're not going to bring that up. You're eventually going to have the same end result, where it's some guy going, and then my grandma saw a real ghost. It doesn't matter that when his grandma told that story, she went, and it was like, a guy scared me. But the exaggeration is, he was a ghost. Like, that guy's not going to remember what part was which.
But wouldn't the exaggeration...
It's like how when people say.
But no, what if when you, because when people, I guess, well, I think, wouldn't it? Where does the level stop? Because I feel like if you exaggerated a story to me and I went to exaggerate it to somebody else, I would build on yours and add mine. I would go, this is Dylan's part, and then I added this part in.
But that's assuming that you're retelling the stories, like with the preface. Like I feel like most normal people would just completely forget which parts were which, and they would go, "Here's a story my friend told me. Some of it's fake. I don't remember which parts, but here it is, presented as I remember it." Like it's the same problem when somebody says like a genuinely faked thing, and then someone else goes, "That's not true." People only remember hearing the fake thing. They don't remember "that's not true" going with it.
Sure.
Like the human brain is just a weird, scary place where we sponge up the interesting stuff.
I'm
and
trying
then
to make things better. Damn it!
Yeah, I know you're trying.
God damn it! Why are you ruining this?
I'm here to bring you down to my level.
No, I hate you.
I'm here to bring you back because the thing is. The only reason I'm tearing this down is because I want this to be the thing.
Oh, okay, good.
I do love the world where I get credit for being creative all the time.
Right.
Instead of having to just lie to people so they'll
like
like me.
That they like it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's way more interesting.
But it's just that humans
I figured
suck.
It would propagate imagination.
Yeah, I'm on board with propagating. I'm on board with us moving to a full creative economy.
I know. So am I.
But the fact of the matter is, humans just absorb interesting facts, whether they're true or not, and then just regurgitate them later with no regard.
Sure.
We're just a whole culture built on everybody lying to each other. And we're not even doing it on purpose. It's just we can't help ourselves.
Sure.
Did you know that Shia LaBeouf's an asshole?
No, he's not. Well, I don't know that.
That may not be true, but they've heard it now, and it's in their brains.
No. See why I saved this topic?
Sure.
I told you this is a good topic. Is that it?
I got one more.
What is it?
We can see where it goes.
Is it good or is it bad?
I don't know if it's going to go anywhere.
Say it, and then I'll shut it. I'll give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
This is a thing I just kind of want to talk to you about. I don't know if it's going to be good podcast material or not.
Yep.
A thing I've discovered, and you may have already read this.
I'm listening.
But, remember when we're going to talk about Marvel Comics for a second, so everybody's going to be lost.
Okay.
Back, way back, like 2 years ago probably, when they first announced Time Runs Out.
Yes.
They first announced that Hickman's doing a time skip 8 months in the future. And 8 months in the future, Captain America's old now, and he revealed a bunch of shit. Yeah. Okay. That happened, and that led directly into Secret Wars. The thing I learned today is that All New, All Different is another 8-month time skip from the end of Secret Wars.
Really?
So all the All New, All Different comics are picking up after 8 months of stories have happened, and we still don't know what any of that stuff was. Some people are saying Secret Wars, the main comic, is going to tell us what happened in those 8 months, but other people are like, nah, the comics will just let us know what happened whenever they feel like it. And I'm trying to figure out if that 8-month time skip is the same 8-month time skip from the last time, or if it's another extra 8-month time skip.
I don't even know, dude.
Right? And I love Marvel, but they clearly don't really know what they're doing in comics right now. And also, apparently, they've announced that the next major event they're doing next year
shit.
is going to explain why the X-Men and Inhumans hate each other. Because apparently the new X-Men and Inhumans comics have started, and they're just like, we hate each other, and no one knows why. Because they skipped 8 months that explained why. So
I'm sure if we got into the boardroom and had this whole thing explained to us, we'd see where people were coming from.
Yeah.
It's so hard to see the bigger picture from here, and I'm sure it has to do with marketing in the movies quite a bit. But, I don't know. I don't know what to... I don't know what to make of getting 8-month previews of things and then filling in gaps in a weird reverse time way.
Because time runs out when it skipped 8 months in the future. It never filled in those gaps.
Right.
It just committed to we're 8 months in the future now. Deal with it. And there was one comic that was called Before Time Runs Out, where Hickman, or it wasn't even Hickman, it was some other guy over on the side going, here's what stuff, maybe?
Yeah.
And it was all just very complicated and frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And now, it's still better. It's still better than DC just going, we're starting all over, deal with it. But it is Marvel going, we're starting all over, but we're starting all over 8 months deep into new lore.
Sure.
Catch up, motherfucker.
It's frustrating.
It's so frustrating.
Okay, so on this episode, we talked about our teaser trailers. Whether they're good or bad, we talked about DC Cinematic Universe and how it could be better in our eyes and hopefully other people's eyes, and how they should just stick to TV and keep Batman on the big screen or do select stories. We talked about how cool Shia LaBeouf is and how nobody should have to say sorry for a movie that by all means isn't horrible at all. We talked about famous names for half a second, stupidly, and then we talked about exaggerations versus accepted white lies that don't really have too much of a consequence anyway. And then we complained a little bit about Marvel Comics. Now I'm yawning, and I guess this episode is over. And hopefully we'll do more, because I'm liking doing this and just sitting down and talking and saving up ideas throughout the week.
Hopefully in the next week I'll come up with some better topics.
Other than comics.
That's all you got. Literally all my ideas came up in the last 30 minutes leading up to this, because I was just
true.
This whole week was me trying to think of... I wanted so desperately to come up with something as good as What If Your Boss Was
Dracula?
Because, thanks to that, we have the name of the podcast, which is Geekula. It's canon now.